Hi, I'm Jeff Hajek, the owner and founder of Valaction. This video is part of my lean training system. It was originally released as a DVD a long time ago, but times have changed and the look of some of these LTS videos is now a bit dated. The content is still spot on though, so rather than just discontinue the line, I am posting the majority of each of the 36 videos here, with the remainder available at Valaction Videos. That's our video service where you can download a wealth of supporting content and watch subscriber-only videos. I recommend subscribing and hitting the notification button if you want to make sure you don't miss any new content. I would also really appreciate if you would hit the like button if this video is helpful and you want to see more content similar to it. The like button helps us get found on YouTube, but it also lets us figure out where you want us to put our future effort. Now enjoy the free version of this video. Welcome to Valaction Continuous Improvement's overview presentation on value-added and non-value-added work. I am Jeff Hajek, the owner and founder of Valaction. Let's start out by covering a few of our main goals for this presentation. First of all, I want to clarify what the concept of value-added work and non-value-added work is. I also want to give you some insight into how to recognize non-value-added work. Before we get into the topic of value-added work, though, we should probably define what value actually is. One definition of value is relative worth, merit, or importance. Another version of the definition is the estimated or assigned worth. Both of these definitions seem fairly intuitive. In the business world, though, value is most important in terms of transactions. What I mean by this is that it is very easy to claim something has value when there is no cost. There are countless examples of products and features with great buzz around them that don't end up selling well. The only way to truly measure value is via a willingness of a person or organization to give you something in return for it. As part of the lean training system this video comes from, we offer a variety of lean Lego training packages. These include our Lean Lego Flow Simulation, Mistake Proofing or Poka-Yoke Lean Lego Exercise, and our Visual Controls and 5S Lean Lego Exercise. We've also got an Office Flow Simulation for those not implementing continuous improvement on the shop floor. Click the links in the description below or click on cards that pop up on this video to learn more. We'll also add links at the end. So let's move from this concept of value and think about the work that creates value. We call this value-added or sometimes value-adding work. So one common way to define value-added work is that it changes the form, fit, or function of a product or service. Now there is an implication to this. If we change that form, fit, or function, the product becomes something that a customer is willing to pay for. The bottom line is that we apply labor and know-how to components and raw materials and information and turn them into something that a customer will write a check for. So let's take these definitions and apply them to some activities that we commonly see in the workplace. Think about this list and decide in your head whether the items on it are value-added work. You'll notice that the items on the left-hand column tend to be more administrative or office work. The items on the right-hand side are things you might find on the shop floor. Some of these items are clearly value-added. Welding, for example, changes the form, fit, or function of pieces of metal. Filing a customer order, on the other hand, would be hard to itemize on a bill without your face turning red. Many of these items, though, fall into something of a gray area. It can be hard to tell whether things like greeting a customer or vacuuming or watering plants are value-added or not. While they may not specifically change the nature of the product, customers are generally more willing to spend money when they are in a positive, upscale environment. But there is one thing I want you to keep in mind as you look at this list. Value-added work always has to be looked at through the eyes of the customer. It doesn't matter what you think is value-added, it matters what the customer thinks. Obviously, non-value-added work is all the activities that you do that do not directly contribute to the things that your customer finds to be value-added. You'll note that this definition of non-value-added work sounds a lot like waste. That's not to say that your business can survive without these types of tasks, though. Thinking back to the list of activities from earlier, one of the items was getting parts from a warehouse. If you didn't do it, you'd have nothing to build, so obviously it has to be done given the current situation. The important thing is to recognize that it is a non-value-added activity because you then become less accepting of it. And that is where the big problem lies. People become extremely tolerant of non-value-added work to the point that it greatly dwarfs value-added work. In fact, the general consensus is that somewhere north of 90% of all work in a company is non-value added. That might seem hard to believe on a production line where value-added work content is much higher. But across the whole company, there are loads of other work that doesn't change the form, fit, or function. The entire HR staff and the accounting staff and the executives, for example, never tighten a bolt or write lines of code or do any of the other things that a customer is willing to pay for. Now, I am not saying to just stop doing those NVA activities. Your business would quickly fail if you did. But I am saying that you need to look at that work critically, and the less it falls into the value-added category, the more you need to scrutinize it. The items in this bottom corner should be a no-brainer. If you identify something unnecessary and non-value-added, just stop doing it right away, as in now. Don't do it one more time. As an example, on a project I supported, a sales team handled returns. They collected a fair amount of data for each incident, sent it to the internal sales manager for review, where it was then sent to accounting. The sales manager just checked for completeness. She didn't actually decide on a disposition. That task was done by accounting. And when reviewing the process, we discovered that they approved all returns under $100 without any screening at all. That was about 80% of the returns. All that work on prepping the files by the sales team was never even used. Needless to say, that work simply evaporated. And those situations are far more common than you might imagine. It is just that people seldom cross functional boundaries when making improvements, so they never uncover these productivity windfalls. The opposite corner contains the sweet spot. Work that you have to do that the customer wants to pay for. That's not to say that the work is perfect. You can always improve these tasks. But this type of work is the work that you want to be doing the most of. The NVA work that is necessary, like the warehouse parts example, falls into this quadrant. For this work, challenge the underlying assumptions. Do you really need a warehouse? Think about why you have it. What if you ordered smaller quantities and stored them at the point of use? Do you need one big warehouse, or would several smaller storage areas near the production areas be more efficient? The point is that unnecessary work should get the biggest scrutiny. And then there is the top right quadrant. It is very uncommon to find work in this category. Customers are pretty savvy, and they don't often pay for things that they find unnecessary. Some examples might include when a patient insists on getting antibiotics for a viral infection. Some certifications also fall into this category. The issue is that the term unnecessary implies that there is no reason to do it. It is hard to find situations where there is absolutely no reason at all to do something. But again, the point is to look critically at the work you are doing so that you break the inertia of accepting non-value-added work. Get more out of our Lean Training System videos with our Continuous Improvement Companion. It's closing in on 1,000 pages of great content. It is currently available as a download with a subscription to Vlaction Videos and as a license through our store. You can also get a free version of it by signing up for our newsletter. Click the links in the description below or click on the cards that pop up on this video to learn more. We'll also add links at the end. There are a few things to keep in mind when thinking about value. The first, and I mentioned it earlier, is that the customer defines value. You don't. You can try to change customer perceptions, but the bottom line is that they dictate what falls into the value-added category. One of the mistakes people make in this regard is in listening to what customers say rather than how they act. You may remember the new Coke fiasco. Coca-Cola conducted taste tests and a new formula beat out the old one. When they changed it, though, it was extremely unpopular. People spoke with their wallets, and that didn't match what they said with their taste buds. The other thing to consider is that customers are not all the same. You won't ever be able to please everyone. So, you have to choose the portion of the market that you want to satisfy and focus on them. The next point is that value will change over time. What customers want from you today will be different next year. You have to pay close attention or you will get left behind. You also have to keep in mind that most tasks are broken up into progressively smaller steps. Think of walking. It can be broken down into right step, right step, and so on. But you can still go further. Right step can be broken into lift foot, move foot forward, lower foot, etc. In your value-added process steps, some of the included smaller steps will be NVA. Finally, in most cases, customers really care about the results, not the process. There are some social and environmental issues that are triggers for people, but by and large, they don't care about how efficient the assembly process for a smartphone is. They just want specific features at a price they are willing to pay for. They don't care about your margin. So let's look at these items in more detail now. Consider this coffee cup. It is nice to look at and might make a person choose to come back here again over another shop. Clearly, if the customer prefers one item over another, there is value there. But let's think about that premise in more detail. That value is certainly there for a customer who is enjoying a leisurely social cup of coffee with friends. But what if you are 4 deep in a line and just want a quick cup while you're a bit late for work? Are you happy to be delayed by the extra time it takes to put this design in the foam for the customers in front of you? Probably not. You value something different than they do. The point is that companies that try to serve too many customer segments with the same product have some value-related challenges. Many of those who grew up in the 70s or early 80s had collections of these, but they gave way to cassette tapes, which moved on to CDs and now MP3s. Thanks for watching this extended free version of our Lean Training System module video. If you want to watch the whole video, check it out at Valaction Videos. If you want to make sure you don't miss the next LTS video that we post, please be sure to subscribe down below. We also always appreciate likes as it helps us get viewed more and makes us keep adding additional content. Thanks for watching, and best wishes on your continuous improvement journey.